very, very proud of her. Seeing a star, a legend.
Period.
A legend.
Thank you.
I'm very, very proud of her, and I'm happy to be here.
Okay.
Miss Makay.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm really good. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much. Actually, I just want to say thank you. You travelled all the way from Ireland.
I did, yes.
For work, but you made time to come and see me in my lovely podcast. So I just wanted to thank you.
Thank you.
And genuinely, how are you?
I'm good. I'm a little tired, but I'm good overall. Excited for the future. We're almost in 2025, so yes.
We're getting there. We're getting there. Okay, so I guess the first question I want to ask you is, how did you get here? Because your background is not originally as a singer.
Yeah, well, not in me being a full-time, independent artist. So, coming from a Nigerian background, you're not necessarily expected to become a singer traditionally. That's not taken seriously. So, I just thought, I love singing because I was always singing since I was 8 in church. I never had a formal education with music at all. So all that I know about music and my experiences with performing and connecting with the audience has been through literally going to church in different competitions since I was 8 years old, 14. And yeah, all that is history now. But that's what's made me where I am today. But I was studying psychology and philosophy in NUIG, which is the National University of Galway. And then I got into HDIP to study psychology, a condensed course for 2 years, very intense, in Trinity, because I found out that a loophole, if you want to get a PhD, to become a neuropsychologist, which is what I wanted to. I wanted to skip doing a master's and get into my PhD program, but you have to get a 1-1 in the HDIP. So I had figured all this out. I'm always very okay, what's the quickest way of me getting to this? But yeah, that got very stressful because that 2-year course, before you even got admitted, one of the things that they mention is this is very intense. You can't do anything else outside of this because this will take up your entire time. But me being me, I was doing music full time at that point. Well, not full time, but music was in my everyday life, gigging every evening. And then I was also working full time, not the smartest thing. And then I had the course as well. So I was literally doing 3 things back to back for an entire year. And then that second year I just couldn't. So I deferred and I continued with working in tech and doing music full time. Yeah.
Okay. So
it's a lot.
It's a lot. It is a lot. So let's talk about, because I remember, for those who don't know, me and Tolü are friends.
Yes.
We've known each other for about, 4 years now? We met at drama school.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
2020. It's been about 4 years.
Wow.
And you shared with me previously that you were working in tech.
Yeah.
And that's when you had your first mental breakdown. And that's essentially what led us to be here. And I was like, oh my God, people need to hear this. That's what led to you having your first breakdown. How do you go from music to tech? And then, yeah. So tell me about your journey working for Google.
So, when I was before I was working in Google, my first job, adult job, was in a company called IDG. So it was a sales tech company, where you like pitch to people why they need to get like a product or whatever. And then the second one was Accenture, and then the next one was Google. Bear in mind, this was like all these three jobs that I had was one each every year. Like, so that was all in 3 years that I got all of that done. So my third year in my corporate working space, I was working in Google. Someone approached me on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great place for you to actually get a job referral.
Okay,
so,
LinkedIn.
Yeah. So someone got me, I did my interviews, got into Google. That was fine. And I, at that point, I thought, a lot of people would have expected this is the time that you've made it. Like if you tell people you worked in Google, everyone's like, oh, wow. Like, everyone like glorifies it. And it's amazing. The things that they do is incredible, like is revolutionary, But for me, Like I remember I'd still take gigs. The time I knew that I was probably going maybe a bit crazy and that maybe music is really my passion was when I took instead of going and taking a break, I took a gig during my break, and it was like maybe like a 5-minute walk away from my office. And it was amazing. And then I came back and I had to like pretend I just, just came back from a break, but I was actually gigging.
Okay, so during work, you took a break, you had a gig,
Yeah.
and then you went back to work again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like that was just like my cycle. Like I wasn't even thinking. And with all those 3 years of me, deferring my uni, continuing full time in like tech, I was not sleeping. I think I was having about like 4 hours sleep, like a night, if even like for those 3-4 years. So I didn't know that what my breakdown was me being exhausted. I didn't know that I was tired. It was someone that I was speaking to. I can't remember her name. I was on like a podcast thing, and she was like, "That sounds like burnout. Whatever you went through sounds like you had burnout." Because I could vividly remember like I can't continue doing this because there was nothing wrong. And I couldn't place what my feeling was, but it was around like August in 2019. This was the year, like after a few months in working in Google. And the thing about Google is like they give you avenues of like rest, and they take care of like, food if you need it, whatever it is, so that you can like work to the best of your ability. And when you're no longer in that space of go, 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 and you finally have to sit down and relax a little bit, I think something triggers your body, and because you're not used to being in like a comfortable space, because you're constantly like in hyperactive mode. And I think that's where I was at, and I didn't realize, I'm only reflecting on this now, my body kind of just shut down because it was like, what is going on?
Okay.
But I didn't know that is what you would call burnout. And I remember, because I remember my manager would come and like have conversations with me and be like, look, if there's anything you need at all, like let me know. But I didn't think like talking about like your mental health to like your manager was a thing, But like there was a week where I just couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't leave to go to work. I couldn't even like get up to have a shower, like to like take care of myself. Simple.
Wow.
I wasn't engaging or talking to people on the phone, nothing, because I just was exhausted and I didn't know what this exhaustion was.
Right.
Maybe like 3-4 days, then I'd like open up my window and like receive food from because and then like after the week is done, I'm like, oh, okay, I feel better now. And then I went back to work. I didn't talk to anyone about it, but then I think 2 months after, the same thing happened. And with studying psychology, I was like, okay, this is not normal. There's something wrong here. And then that's when I made the decision to quit my job. I don't think I explained it to my boss like at all, like why, because I didn't really have an answer either. I think I felt shame and guilt for not being able to be okay. I thought it was like depression, but it wasn't.
Sorry, you said something that triggered me there for a minute. With shame and guilt, obviously you are of Nigerian descent.
Yes.
And you grew up in Ireland. As an African woman, I know culturally we're just expected to be okay.
Be okay, be
and
strong.
Pray. You get down on your knees and you pray when you have problems, right? That's how most of us grow up, because most of us grow up in Christian households, Pentecostal households. So there is a lot of shame to not being okay. How do you navigate through that? Like, what are your tools? And when did you decide that actually it's okay to feel shame and this is normal? And we don't sit down and just pray our pain away and our problems away. We actually have to deal with it head on.
When I started realizing that I was making some repetitive behaviors that I didn't like, and again, because of, I think, my background in like studying psychology, I understood that there were avenues or like resources that I could reach out to. And I think that that's the first step of like being like, I'm not okay and I want to find help. Because I think a lot of people don't even get to that stage because, like you said, we come from a background whereby if you need to ask for help, you speak to God. And I'm not saying that that's anything like bad, but when it's something that's constantly blocking you from the goals that you're trying to reach, you need to take proactive steps. And one of them is just going to therapy. And there's different forms of therapy. And I think I went through like 3 different therapists before I actually found the one that I could still currently use. And I think it's even only now, because I've been working with her for like maybe 3 years now. It's only now that I'm even seeing like the reward of, going through these sessions. Because I think I had to work and figure out the core of why I think the way I think. Or, for example, why I felt so much guilt or shame. And one of the things that I realized was I've inherited the thoughts that I'm selfish for some reason.
Oh, wow.
And this comes back to like childhood. And like, coming from a Nigerian household and also being the
Are you the first child?
Yes,
Oh, God,
exactly.
the
I'm the first.
Wow.
And also my mom's the first
Wow.
too. So
Wow.
she's learned how to just get on and deal with things. And so I'm expected to get on and deal with things. And because of, I'm grateful to also be living in Ireland, because now I have the tools of coming from a Nigerian household, but also having the facility and capability of learning new things that can also help me in this in this space, in this environment that my mom wasn't privy to. So I can ask for help, So it was just, I lost my train of thought. What was the question again? So
you went to get some therapy.
Yes, the tools.
The tools.
Yeah. So the tools that I'm currently using is to ask for help, and that's not even just like on a therapy level, like friends. If sometimes, because money used to be a huge shame thing for me as well. Like I don't like asking people for like money, or if I'm short or something like that, because it's so personal. But asking for advice on how to manage your money, like that, there's actual like avenues that you can go to and ask, okay, how can I actually manage my money? Because this wasn't something I was taught. But in different households, they teach teach their kids how to take care of their finances from the age of 10.
Right.
I'm only starting to learn that. And if if I want to sustain my career as a full-time artist, I need to understand what that is. And unfortunately, I'm the one that has to do that. I wish I didn't, but these are tools that I'm learning that, okay, I need to ask for help on this thing. I'm not taking care of my health properly. Okay, let me get a, what do they call them? A PA or, not a PA, a PT.
A personal
trainer.
Yeah.
Like there's avenues for that. If I'm not eating well, okay, do a bit of research on that. Go to the doctor if your body's feeling a bit weak. Like just it's the tiniest things. And like I wasn't even taking care of myself to the point of like if I needed to drink water, I didn't even know what to listen to in my body to know when I needed to drink water. Like, and it starts with the basic level. Okay, I need to use the toilet, but I'm here like working away 3 hours later and I'm still feeling the pain of needing to go to the toilet. Like these are like the foundation of the things that I needed to understand and the tools to help me to like start listening to my body and my own intuition and understanding what it is that I needed for myself to get better.
Wow. I guess the next question I have to ask is, as someone that's in the public eye, you're very well known in Ireland. Let me tell you when I realised just how well known you are.
Oh God.
So I've known Tolü for a while, and I think one day you invited me to one of your events. I think it was
in the London Irish Centre. Yes.
Right. You invited me, and me being me, I get invited to quite a lot of things. I was like, oh, okay, then you've come all the way from Ireland. Let me go and support you. So I come along thinking it's just going to be some cutesy,
I'm done.
And then there's just all these people, and they're like, "Oh my God, Tolü," in their Irish accents, and I'm like, what is happening over here? Okay. Then you get on stage and you sing. and you can really sing. I mean, like, the back of my hair is standing up. I'm getting teary-eyed. I think I cried a little bit. I was like, oh my God, this girl's really, really good.
Thank you.
And there's all of these people in Ireland who know who you are. And I'm like, wow, you're like a celebrity in Ireland. How do you deal with being public facing? I mean, I'm like, oh God, it just seems, it's horrendous.
It's a lot.
How do you deal with that? People
Do you know what's
scrutinizing.
really funny about Ireland? You know, there's a lot of famous people that go to Ireland for holidays because, I don't know, the Irish people just don't care.
Okay.
There's an aspect of us like just not caring. Whatever you're doing, that's your business. So like but then obviously there are people that will come up to you and like they will be like, oh, hey, like your music inspired me or you've done this. I think when people started knowing me, I was a bit like, whoa, this is a lot. I didn't know how to manage it. But it wasn't anything like negative. I don't think I've gotten anything like negative from it. I'm learning to actually embrace it. I think at the start I was like, okay, this is too much. I don't want it. But I'm learning to like embrace it because for the kind of career and the progression of where I want to take my career, this is part of the job, I've learned. However, I think there was a point in time where I was like, okay, do I need to behave or change my character in a certain way? Because the way the way I am is that I'm playful, I'm a bit goofy, I like to make jokes, I'm friendly. And one of the things I think I find that friends of mine have associated success to look like on people that are celebrities or whatever is that there is a certain type of, I don't know what the best word to use is, but like you have to kind of set yourself apart or have an attitude of like, I'm the best, I'm the greatest.
Grandeur.
Yeah. And like when I'm on stage and I'm doing my thing, of course, you will see that attitude. You will see whatever it is that I need to emulate to get my songs across. But me as a person, I'm pretty chill. I'm easygoing. I'm just how I am. And I think what I struggled with was the expectations of how other people thought I should be. And then internally I was like, oh, should I be like that? And my conclusion was I don't have to be anything
Oh, that's amazing.
other than myself.
yourself.
But it was something I was really thinking about but then again, this is like the growing pains of losing people, letting go of people, meeting new people, and just understanding who you are as a person. But I think that's one of the things that's not being a celebrity, but like being well known kind of highlights. You really need to know yourself. Yeah.
Piggybacking off of that, social media.
Ooh. Yes.
How do you deal with the pressures of social media? We were saying this earlier, that we're in a really weird space at the moment where you're expected to be perfect.
Yeah.
And we know that couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah.
We're all really imperfect people.
Very imperfect.
And there is a balance in life, and it life ebbs and flows. There are ups and downs, and social media will really make you feel like you are the only person who is having ups and downs and everybody else is just having a perfect life.
It's true.
And you're like, what the hell is going on? As an artist, I can only imagine the pressure is 10 times worse. Yeah. How do you deal with that? How do you deal with social media and the expectations?
Honestly, at the beginning, it was fun. And when I say the beginning, I mean like 2018, 2019. I think there was less kind of pressure back then than there is now. Because for me, it was just like, I'm just sharing my work. And I just wasn't thinking about it like that. I was just having fun with it. But now that a lot of people have understood how you can like kind of go viral and you can create moments, and from those moments you gain opportunities that can be monetized, it then becomes a game whereby you now as an artist you're fighting for attention.
Rather than
rather than
creating.
actually creating. And like I want to be like, just change your attitude, but like it's not easy because I know how I also feel about social media. And when I allow myself, make it be like my main focus, it really takes a toll on my mental. Like I find myself sometimes scrolling on TikTok for like 2 hours and my time is gone. And I'm just like, what is happening?
Yeah.
But then internalizing, well, why are my numbers not doing well? Because the truth of the matter is when you are working or trying to speak with like labels or A&R or management or whatever, a lot of them are looking at your numbers.
Yeah.
They're looking at your engagement. They're looking at, what it is that your online presence is saying. So like for me, one of the things I know I can do very well is I can put on a show. That is where I thrive. Like when I sing to an audience in real time, real life, like that is where I thrive. I feel it. The audience feels it. What I struggle with showing is how to take that energy and bottle it into something that is well branded for social media. Because I don't even like that. Then again, I feel like that's even like a marketing job.
Yeah.
And that's not my job.
I can relate.
And I'm like, that's not my job. But there's some artists that are really excellent at like, branding themselves really well. But then there's some other parts of their career that they kind of fall short on. And the way I try to think about it now is all I can do is my best, honestly. And yes, there are days where social media makes me feel like I'm not doing anything at all. But when I make, like, for example, my website or my EPK, I'm like, look at all these things I've done. What? You cannot tell me anything. This is, cause like, for example, one of the things I always have to kind of remind myself is I'm doing this full time for 4 years now by myself, sustaining myself. That is a huge accomplishment. And I think maybe last year I wouldn't have even been able to like say that out loud because I would have thought, oh, maybe that's just me being cocky or something. But it's not. It's I've worked hard to be where I am, and there's so much more that I really want to like do, and that is what keeps me excited. And I've been going to a few talks and meeting more people and like just trying to put myself in a positive headspace and think about my music positively, but also social media and how I'm using social media positively. Because if I'm looking at it as I'm not getting the right numbers, why is this person not, why am I doing less than this person? How come they're getting all the brand deals? I genuinely believe everyone gets what they can do at the right time, and you just have to wait for the right time and just keep going. If you start thinking negatively or you're becoming jealous or envious of someone else's success, it's just not going to come to you. So I'm a true believer of when you see someone doing great, like take that as inspiration rather than turning it into something that eats away from you.
Which kind of leads me to the next question, which is the monster that is comparison.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
What are your tactics and tools? What do you have in your little toolbox to help you deal with comparison? Because I feel like most of us, even though some people don't admit to it, deal with this horrendous thing, which is comparison. We're constantly comparing ourselves to other people in the way
and
that, especially as we women, the way that we look, like our accomplishments. Social media really amplifies comparison.
Hugely.
So how do you do that?
Like I said, like
help me.
I need help too. No, there are days that I do like compare myself sometimes, and I'm like, shit, how come she's getting all this? And I'm just sitting here like this, but you don't know what that person is doing behind the scenes to get to where they are. You don't know the hard work that people are putting behind their work. I can say this. I'm sure other people are looking at me and like, how the hell is she getting all this? Girl, I'm not signed. Do you know how many managers I've had before? Like, there's so much backstory, and the way I kind of look at it is, again, like I said, instead of looking at someone and being like, oh, why them? I think it's more so to be like, oh, I'm really like, that's amazing to see. I want to take inspiration from that. The fact that it's something that can be done means that I can also do it. That's the way I look at things. I genuinely believe if you can see something, that means it's gonna come to you too. Like, you just have to kind of wait for your turn. Because I feel like you know, when people talk about self-sabotage,
Yes.
like I think the flip coin of, you know, looking at people and being what's it called? What was the word that you used of the question that you asked?
Comparison?
Yeah, of comparison. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with, like, you know, comparing yourself, but it's how you internalize that.
Right.
If you think of it negatively, it's only going to like take away from you. But if you're like, okay, no, I actually feel inspired. Clearly, I'm feeling a certain type of way, but does that mean I just need to do something does that mean I need to work a little bit harder? Or does that mean that maybe I need to just shut off this internet and look at all the stuff that I've already done?
Do you feel like you're able to do this or think like this and maneuver this way because you've had the therapy? Or is this just something that you've...
No, I think this has been before even therapy. I'd honestly say because of how I grew up very religious, if I'm being honest. Because one of the things that, I don't know if it's in the Bible, maybe I'm paraphrasing, I don't know. Something like it's not good to be envious of other people or wants to inherit what other people already have.
Yeah.
And I think that's just always kind of like stayed with me because I don't know, I don't like feeling like I can't achieve something because of somebody else or something else. I genuinely feel like I have the capability of becoming who I want to be through my own source, myself. And like being so hell-bent or looking at what other people feels like I'm giving them a power. And they don't even know I probably exist. It's you know.
That's the crazy thing about social media.
Yeah,
Like,
so I'm like, me saying this does not mean like, oh yeah, I'm not comparing myself. No, what I'm saying is that if it's getting to a place where I'm thinking negatively, that's when I know okay, there's two things happening here. Clearly, I'm feeling something emotional and it's triggering me in some way. And maybe I'm really tired and I just need to shut off this like thing, this internet at the moment. But the first one often is true that, okay, I desire this thing that this person does have. What are the things I'm doing to get me to that place? One, it's not about them. I think that's what we need to realize. It's not about that person you're comparing yourself to. It's what you're telling yourself.
Dealing with internally.
Yeah. Most things are internal.
Yeah. I always, and I say this to my friends when we're having like private conversations, I have a lot of friends who are doing really well and I get really inspired. I don't think comparison is always a negative thing. When I look at my friends like you and loads of my friends and I see how well they're doing, I'm like, shit, right? I need to get my shit together. Come on. You need to go harder, do better, work out more, read more, learn more. What do you know, I get really inspired.
But you know, that's amazing though, because it's this thing where they say like iron sharpens iron.
Yes.
You need people that are around you that motivates you and inspires you. Like you are also that, like you are incredible, by the way.
Thank you.
Yes, you have incredible friends that are doing amazing things, but you are also the fact that you're in that circle already like says so much about you. So yeah, iron sharpens iron, and you are one of those irons that are sharpening even me, myself as well.
Thank you, darling. Okay, so you are Nigerian born.
Yeah.
You grew up in Ireland. You were raised in Ireland.
Yeah.
You are a black woman.
I am.
And you're a dark-skinned woman.
Yes.
Your sound is very eclectic, very different, very unique.
Thank you.
I don't know where to place you. I don't know if you are soul, indie. You're a niche, which to the external world, you know, would classify you as different. Like, how do you deal with that? Like, you being so different to what we're used to, right? How do people try and put you in the box? Can they put you in, like, how do you deal with that? Being so outside of the norm of the box. You don't look like what people expect you to look like. You don't sound like it. You don't behave. You're Irish, for God's sake. Like, how do you deal with that? Sorry, I know it's quite a heavy question.
No, it's fine. You know, it's when I'm asked that I start like looking for answers, and I think it's better for me not to even like think about it or question it, because I found that the more I've questioned, okay, why am I singing this way, or what genre am I? That's not my job. My job is to create. And again, this is like one of the issues that I feel like a lot of artists have. But then again, the music industry is a business at the end of the day. So I do understand, you know, if you want to make music or if you want to be commercial, you have to package it in a way. I get it. However, with me learning that I don't want to dilute my message, nor do I want to dilute who I am. I can adjust, and I know how to like sit in different type of audiences. I think that's a superpower. Before I used to think, oh, maybe this is just too much, or I'm just doing too much. But like, I know how to work with an orchestra if I need to. I know how to work with a band if I need to. I know how to do a solo gig if I need to. I know how to sing a ballad or a folk song or this, because I've been influenced by so many things because of how I've been brought up and the different environments that I've been in. And that's all part of my story. Now, how to fine tune that and put it into context, that's also someone else's work. At the moment, I'm just doing as my heart like leads me and like wants me to. But I think one of the things I really want to do for next year is that I've kind of for the past 2 years I've been trying to understand or package it properly, and the best way that I've been explaining to people what I'm trying to emulate is if we were to have the likes of Labyrinth, Florence and the Machine, Janelle Monáe, Aurora, Adele blended into one person. That is who I am. And each and every one of these artists are so unique in their own different way that I don't even think anyone can necessarily put them in the box. I mean, you could say that they do ballads and pop, but then you have the likes of Janelle Monáe that you're like, what the hell do they do?
Yeah.
Labyrinth, what the hell do you classify that music? Aurora, what, like, okay, Florence and the Machine, like completely in their own like lane. I want to stand on being in my own lane, my own energy, my own world that I can create for other people to come into. And the genres that would fit into would be alternative, soul, pop, ballad, R&B. Those would be the genres that would be classified under, maybe indie as well. But I think with the projects and the music that I'll be releasing for next year, depending on how the songs are put together, it'll probably be more pop or more soul pop or just alternative. But yeah, even like within the music industry, like even the fact that new awards are now being placed, like the facts, I think, is it the Mobile Awards? They now have an alternative sector that artists can win.
Okay.
So like that was never there before. Like there was never an alternative genre. So as the years are going, it seems like we'll be getting more genres that will allow more doors for artists that are niche but that are very popular because they've created a fan base for themselves to, you know, get awards and be recognized for that. I think time changes. And things change when artists stay authentic and true to their work. There's so many underground artists that eventually come to the limelight. This year is an example of that. Like we said before, most of the artists that I've loved that have come out this year, a lot of them have been grinding for 10 to 15 years, you know?
10 years.
It takes 10 years to make an overnight success. Exactly. And like, you know, all those people have also evolved and they've changed and they've curated their work and they were niche at some point, or they created a project that, you know, was that had the right voice but fit into a certain genre a bit better for them to market it better, but it was still them. And now people are able to track back to where they started and they completely understand their story to where they are now. So I think that's the kind of legacy or lineage that I kind of want to emulate with my work. Because if I was to say I know exactly what I'm doing, I don't. But I know that it's connecting with people. Yeah.
Now leaning a little bit more into biology and spiritual work. How do you stay connected to... I mean, you grew up as a Christian, right? Would you say you're still a Christian?
I wouldn't classify myself as a Christian, no. I don't even know what I am anymore. I think the word would be agnostic.
Okay.
Because you believe in something, but you're not sure what it is that you believe in.
Okay.
Nor are you an atheist. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's like in between. But it's all... anyways, I'll still say that I'm somewhat... I think there's a power or something, because especially like when I finished my gigs that I had for the past 2 weeks, one of the things that people always say whenever they come to my gigs is that they feel like it's healing or that I'm ministering, and I'm like, bro, I'm telling you to like love yourself, but I suppose maybe that's like some form of like, I don't know, something that helps other people. You know, a lot of the songs that I write has mostly been for myself, to get out of like really weird mental tough situations that I've been in. And I've just sang a lot of songs and created a lot of music to empower myself. And I think that's been translating, and it's been empowering a lot of different people. And what I mean by different people is, it doesn't matter the age, the demographic, like when they were born. Like there's been so many different people from all walks of life and in different countries that have told me like they feel inspired by the music. And I think there's something to be said about that feels spiritual. And I don't know what to call that. And I think that's why sometimes I try not to think of things too deeply or try to understand the meaning of things too much, because I often find that when I know, or I think I know, that's when I try to force myself into this power thing when it's completely something outside of me that's taking some form of control, and I just allow whatever that is be that thing, whereby I just be I suppose the instrument to have the music and just share my art, rather than trying to explain or be like, yes, and this is exactly what I'm doing. I think there is a communication that's happening that I don't even necessarily understand. Yeah.
I agree that emotional highs and lows. How do you deal with that in such a chaotic, uncertain...
I allow myself to be
space.
chaotic. You have to be chaotic. I think I mentioned this, that like I think the balance in this like life is being going with the flow of it. You can't, because I used to be like, oh, I need like a work-life balance. I don't think that there's such a thing. I think the work-life balance is being like, okay, let me have a little bit of structure to my day, cool. But if something crazy happens, let's just go with it. And if next week I'm like all fairies living in my dream world, be in that space. If the next week requires you to be stern and be very firm and put on your boss hat and let people know exactly what they need to be doing, then that's what you need to be. I think we need to, like, we are also part of like this ecosystem of life. Seasons come, seasons go. We have to adapt to that. So wherever the conundrum of this roller coaster is happening, just you have to flow with it, or you're going to be trying to...
And also, can we just acknowledge that women are substantially different to men? Like, every week we're different people. Like, biologically, we actually can't help it. Do you know? It depends on your cycle. So some weeks I'm going to be very proactive and a boss bitch. And then other weeks I'm just going to be like, no, I'm going to sleep for 2 days.
And that's okay.
Leave me alone. And that is okay.
That is actually okay, honestly.
Yeah.
You know, at the beginning of the conversation, we were saying like, well, I don't know if we were saying this exactly, but how we have to be so strong and it's expected of us to just keep going. I think this is why we have the cycles that we do, because we need moments of rest. I know when my body is telling me to like stop, and there's times where my body literally stops me and I can't do anything for that whole week because I was not listening to my body. That's why it is so important, because it goes hand in hand. Your mind and your body, they're all part of this one space. You can't do one thing without the other. And I think, for example, how I started in like my whole breakdown with leaving Google and, you know, getting into music, for 4 years, imagine not sleeping properly, doing 3 different types of jobs.
I don't imagine. I know what was happening to you.
It was insane. I had
Yeah.
no time to think, no time to rest, nothing. I was a machine. And
you're not
to
a
what
machine.
end? I'm not a machine, exactly.
and
I'm
blood.
not. And I think what I sacrificed in those years was not even understanding what I need, like in terms of nutrition, that's so basic, in terms of physical health, to learn what my body needs, for myself to be able to handle the ebbs and flow and the chaotic life cycle. Because there are things that I think everybody does differently to help soothe themselves, to help them come back to their foundation or like their core of like how they feel,
Absolutely.
and if you are not allowing yourself to listen to your body or listen to your mind, you're not going to know what it is that you need. You're not going to know what that balance is. And I think maybe that's what we're trying to find.
It's so true.
You're going to be very, not lost, but you're not going to be as steady as you'd like to be, because everything's just so chaotic internally, because you don't know how to regulate. That's the word.
Yourself.
You don't know how to regulate yourself. So yeah, I think that's resting is fundamental to understanding how to regulate your nervous system.
I agree. I think we just find it really difficult now, especially in today's world where it's go, 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 and everybody's under so much pressure to be doing and to be great and to be inspiring and to be succeeding and to be perfect. And it's like, actually, no, just take 5. And that's speaking for myself as well. As you know, I suffer from PMDD. And when I'm going through that time, until I learn to deal with it and actually like just stop, you wouldn't know it, but I'd be going through hell. My body would be like shutting down. My emotional state was a mess. And then I was just like, actually, no, I can't. I can't. So regulation is really important. The other thing I was going to ask you was, what advice would you give to the little bambinos which are coming up and are looking up to you, and they're like, when I grow up I want to be a singer like Tolü Makay. I aspire to be like her. She looks just like me, and she she's nothing like we see out there. What advice? I know it's heavy is the head that wears the crown, but I genuinely feel like we're here to give back, and we have a duty. Like that's one of the things that I tell myself. And like all of the people that have gone through a lot of adversity in life, I'm like, you've gone through these adversities for a reason. Don't throw it away. You can help so much, and we have a duty to give back. That's like my only, like now as an adult, that I know who I am. I've discovered myself. I'm on this journey to get this clinical psychology doctorate.
Yes.
I'm like, all I want to do is give back so that people like me or young girls like me don't have to go through the same growing pains as I did. I'm a great believer in learning from other people's mistakes.
I agree.
You don't need to make those same mistakes to learn.
I agree.
So, what would you advise?
Okay. Well, one of the first thing that comes to mind is that it's important to know that you are enough. That a lot of the things that you are probably seeking and thinking that you can't get, or that you're not good enough to get, it's all fallacy. Everything that you need to become who you are is already innately in you. It's just that you probably need like nurturing and that, but you have a lot of the things that you need already. Don't give your power away. And what I mean by this, especially to like creatives or artists, is for me, there's a lot of mistakes that I've made it like in the industry, but I think a lot of the mistakes I've made have also allowed me to understand what I want. And it's made me also realize that I am really passionate about, continuing this music journey that I want. And what I mean by not giving your power away is that, again, you are enough. One, you know what it is that you want. Your voice carries a lot more weight than you think. And all these things are what define you and will make you stand out and will make the work that you do or put out there, stand the test of time. So don't allow anyone tell you how to be or in what direction you need to create your work. Time is the best teacher for that rather than other people.
Wow.
What other advice would I give? Have fun, man. Have a lot of fun. Be freaking goofy and don't care about smiling too much or doing too much. Like, we're supposed to be in this life to have fun. Like, there's so many experiences that we're supposed to have. Allow yourself to have those experiences. Allow yourself to be excited about life. Like, I'm literally that person, and it may annoy people, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But I genuinely think, like, I've been saying this all year round. Joy is an act of rebellion. Oof. There are so many things.
Say that again.
Joy is an act of rebellion. And there are so many things that will make you feel terrible. But I think it is so important to invest in your happiness and your joy as you do with trying to grow and learn and educate yourself. It is imperative that you laugh, you smile. I think there's even studies of when you smile, you get more endorphins.
Absolutely.
Or what is it? You just feel better.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important that we don't stop that. As you grow and become an adult into your 30s, 40s, learn and remind yourself what it means to just laugh.
Oh, that was amazing. And just before we end this, so, I'm a little bit of a health fanatic. I have to be. I have no choice because I have this condition called PMDD. Mm-hmm. So there are things that I do every single day to make sure that I'm operating at my optimum. So I work out every day. I meditate every day. I read every day. I practice gratitude. I try to anyways every day. To make sure that I sustain this physique and my mental. What are 5 things that you do?
Ooh, I don't know about 5.
Healthy things. Okay, give us 3 that you do on a daily to maintain your health.
Guys, as you know, as an artist, we are probably not the best to take care of ourselves. However, I will say, I'm just going to give you the truth and the basics. And it's really basic. But coming from where I've come from and for all the stories that I've kind of shared a little, reminding myself to drink water, reminding myself to eat. And instead of literally just being like, okay, no, I need to do this work. No, I'm really tired and my body needs food. So literally get off and do that. One of the things I like to do as well is that I take breaks as much as I can, even if that's just watching a really funny show. I love series and movies. I love a sci-fi psychological thriller. So I love watching some random shows here and there during the day, just to keep me happy and feel like I've done something I wanted to do that doesn't have anything to do with work. And then calling my loved ones and just texting and checking in, because I do forget to do that at times. So I'd say those are the things I try and do every day that keeps me level-headed. Yeah.
The staples.
Yeah.
Girl, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and giving us a little bit of you. Hopefully people have gotten to know you much more, and the world will get to know you and love you just as much as I do.
Thank you.
This has been the Understanding Your Body Through Your Mind podcast, and we'll see you next week.